Hello and welcome back to our podcast. Raw shit. Is that what we're going to call it? I think Scarlett came out with the name yesterday. Raw shit.
Raw shit. I think that's it.
Straight up.
I think this is going to be the name, guys. So thank you very much for whoever contributed in trying to give us a name. But raw shit came from Scarlett, so she takes the credit for it, unfortunately.
I say I'm pretty awesome.
We tried recording yesterday, guys, but Zoom was down. We tried Skype, and we did have a little bit of a recording where it was completely funny. I think it's going to go into the bloopers. John,
don't try and play it down like we didn't spend 45 minutes wasting our time.
All right, let me introduce.
I can't believe.
Let me introduce our guest, man. Come on. She's new on the podcast. We have IFBB Pro, our new IFBB Pro, Scarlett Holland, figure, right? Figure, yeah. IFBB Pro.
That's me.
And
figure.
Our co-host, IFBB Pro, John Lofthouse, and myself, the dictator, Faisal, Fernando, whatever you want to call me.
Fernando.
This Fernando thing followed me through school and everything. You know, ABBA songs and you name it.
It makes me think of that TV show what's that TV show where if they win, they go to the Isle of Fernando.
Oh my God. So let's cut it here. Welcome, Scarlett. Welcome, Scarlett. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
The thing is, we did record yesterday, and we did hear the story, but obviously we lost the recording, so we're going to have to do a little bit of a rewind.
That's fun.
So please excuse us for that. It wasn't our fault. It was Zoom. So Scarlett, tell us about how you started and how did this all happen? I mean, how many shows and how did this all happen for you?
So I kind of fell into bodybuilding. I grew up training to become a ballerina. So I started dancing at the age of 3. And then I turned professional by 17. And that's kind of all I knew. And then I did the whole ballet thing for 6 years.
Wow.
And
Shit.
yeah, I kind of traveled a lot with it. I had nothing to do with fitness at all. Never kind of stepped in the gym apart from to go on the cardio machines, because with ballet, you're kind of expected to look a certain way, which is very skinny. And there was a lot of pressure on all females and guys, I guess, to look, obviously, the way they want you to look. So with that, as I got older, I fell into the eating disordered eating, whatever you want to call it, thing. And along with that came injury, just repetitive strain injuries, the typical ankle sprains and stuff. And then I fractured my shins, and that kind of set me back quite hard.
How did you do that?
It was like stress fracture. So just because where we dance on our toes the whole time, just over the years, because I've been dancing on my toes since I was 11.
I was going to think it was one of your, an ex-boyfriend that we can, rest in peace.
There's a list of people in my life that I'm more than happy to give you. No, ex-boyfriend. So with injury and kind of just disordered eating, I took the decision to hang the shoes up, as we call it.
Yeah.
And I came home, and because I danced my whole life, I knew nothing. Like, I went to ballet school, which is like boarding school, but for ballet dancers. So I did all my GCSEs, I did all my A-levels, but it wasn't important, really. So I had very basic qualifications, and I came home and I was like, I don't know what to do. And conveniently at the time, my mum was competing, and she was in the whole bodybuilding thing. Not for long, to be fair. She'd probably done it for about 2 or 3 years. And I thought it was completely weird. I was just like, why would you gain so much muscle? That's strange. So I came home, and I think for just guidance, I was quite lost. And my mum said to me at the time, she was like, why don't you come to the gym and just join in and just see if you like it? Yeah. And I think I instantly fell in love with training. I think the pressure for being skinny for so many years, and then I grew quite quickly, like my body responded quite well. So for me, getting more positive attention for how I looked became attractive, became exciting. And I was genetically lucky that I've always been able to put on size like okay. So with that, I just was that girl that was like, right, I'm going to compete. It's a really good idea. I've been training for 2 months. Why not get on stage? I look great. So I look like a little weed in a bikini for my first show.
Yeah, it's going to raise a question, by the way. So keep going.
So 2015 was the first show, junior bikini. hilarious. I mean, I look back now and I find it absolutely hilarious.
Where did you place?
Fourth? I don't even know.
That's decent though.
There was only one call out, so who knows? And it was UKBFF. And I mean, I loved it. Performing on stage was what I've been like born to do. So for me, even though my posing was fucking awful, oh god, I wish I could show you some photos, guys. Like it was great.
Have you got photos on your Instagram?
They're probably somewhere on Instagram.
Oh, we should go on your Instagram.
I think because I was a dancer, I was like, I know what I'm doing. I can definitely pose. And you just look at them and just, oh, for God's sake, what did I do? But I think after that show, I rebounded quite hard, as I think a lot of new competitors do, especially girls. And I just basically accidentally got fat. And with that, I mean, we kind of touched on Domino's yesterday. I'm going to insert it here now, guys.
We have to bring up the conversation about Domino's that came in yesterday.
So just to keep it short, Domino's, meat feast, tomato base, nice large pizza, none of this stuffed crust shit, and Domino's cookies, straight up. Oh, and big garlic and herb dip.
Did we find out, you know, in our break away from the podcast yesterday, how Domino's cookies are made?
Yeah,
No.
I think you said, no, we didn't actually, but you said
Well, I said how I thought they were made, but I'm not sure if that was actually how they were made.
Dough, isn't it, really?
But I got told that they make two cookies. So they make a small cookie and then they freeze it, and then they make another cookie, flatten that out, so that's like soft dough, and then they take the frozen cookie and wrap it inside the soft dough, bake it, and then serve it.
John, I want to know where you got the from. That's decent.
I need to contact.
Well, I really like Domino's cookies, so literally a few months ago, I think I ate 3 boxes.
Wow. I mean, I told you guys I was an area manager for 8 years for Domino's, but the cookies came after I left. So I'm not sure how it's
at a
made.
bad time. I'm still looking for. Wait, I'm gonna get pictures of you, Scarlett. I want to see what you look like when you first started.
Scroll down. You'll have to scroll that shit.
Oh, you've done a lot of pictures.
So yeah, basically, after my first show, I rebounded hard, ate just a lot of shit, but I carried on training, and I was getting stronger and stronger the more calories I was eating.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
See, I look terrible in both.
That's mad. No, but that's mad progress.
See, that was 2 years.
That's only 2 years. That's mad progress.
Wow.
Yeah, so I just I carried on like lifting heavy, and I enjoy training. So I accidentally got big, and I think I said to you guys yesterday, like I think genetically I'm predisposed to build muscle. Like I don't find it that hard for a female. All that time I was natural. I didn't take anything. And then I think I went from like 53, 54 kilos to 80 in 2 years, and there was a lot of body fat. And then my coach at the time was like, right, let's try fitness because you've got this performance background. The physique's more like figure.
Who was coaching you back then?
Eddie Abu.
Okay.
Eddie Abu.
My mum prepped me for my first show, ladies and gents. That was all my mum.
Okay.
That was all my mum.
That's
Then
cool.
I went to see Ed, and then we prepped together for a year. And I mean, I think every coach that I've had's been an experience, and like I loved Ed. I still love him now. His ways personally didn't work for me. It was too strict. It was too bodybuildery. And it was far too restricted, and there was a lot of underlying issues that I needed to address, like metabolism and having a terrible relationship with food. But we did that show. That was the photo that you've just shown on the second one. And then after that, I tried to do fitness again one more time. So that was show 3 in 2018. Physique wise was a lot better. But again, it started to become quite apparent that old injuries were flaring up, and but from the performance side of things, I just couldn't do it properly. I couldn't rehearse it. I couldn't practice it. And
Did you have to adjust your training according to the injuries, or how did that work?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, even to this day, I've got niggles that I've had for donkey's years, especially in my hips. And because I'm already
question. So I'm always intrigued about ballet. Do you have bad ankles, like bad ankle mobility?
My ankle mobility is ridiculous, like in a good way.
Really?
Yeah.
Like they go flat out and then down. Like they're like.
Yeah, I know, but for squatting, obviously, you have to go completely. Yeah, but for squatting, you have to go the opposite way, innit? Oh, yeah, I didn't know if it would fuck you up.
No, so I've got both range in my ankles. My ankles are relatively strong as well. I think dancing on your toes for so many years, you build a lot of strength. But mainly with hips and knees. And even now, I've still got dodgy hips. I probably will always have dodgy hips.
Wow.
But from a resistance training perspective, no, not really. You kind of work around it like anyone else would.
Yeah.
But from a fitness perspective, so when you're doing routines, like I think in fitness there's 4 mandatory. So it's like a split jump, I think, a straddle hold, a handstand, and something else. And so any big jumping movement, like I physically couldn't get off the floor anymore. Like my shins were excruciating. So it's one of the things that you're getting marked on. So for me, I was pointless. I don't enjoy this. It makes me hate it. And also, I think in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is bodybuilding. Like, I'm not here to be judged on my talent. As much as I love the category, I think it's something that everyone gets excited to watch. And it's kind of a cool take, especially for women as well, that maybe don't want to get that big. But for me, I was like, I don't want to be judged on my talent. I've been judged on my talent my whole life. Like, I want to be judged on my physique. This is what bodybuilding is.
I have a very, very good question for you. I don't actually remember her name. Something Kadir. What's her name? Kadir? Ariel Kadir. She mentioned in one of her interviews that she got injured at college and then she switched over to fitness. She was injured, then she went into fitness. How does that work for you?
I think for some injuries, you're going to gain a lot of strength from resistance training, right? So anything that's maybe bone injury, like for me, shins, any kind of resistance training like that you're going to do is only going to improve strength. So you can probably see the benefit from some. I mean, there's some things that you'll do, like if you've torn muscles or that kind of shit, I'd imagine that's always going to affect you.
Of course.
But for me, all my injuries have been joint or bone related. So touch wood, everything's only just got stronger. It's just high impact stuff now that for me in my legs is just almost a no-go. Even sprints on treadmill Stairmaster, it is a little bit uncomfortable. But,
so because this question here from one of the viewers says, you went from bikini up all the way to a figure, right? And the transition of you growing, did that take a long time, or how did that?
I think, like I said, like I kind of accidentally grew. So after my bikini show, I actually didn't leave that going, I want to go up a category. And I remember my mum was figure, so she was master's figure. And I loved her look, but for me, it was too big. Like I didn't want to be that big. And I think because I accidentally grew size over the 2 years that I basically just got fat, you just adapt. And I think once I'd cut down initially as well, I was like, do you know what? I quite like having legs, ass and shoulders. Like it was different for me because it was a whole.
I love how she accidentally grew.
But like, I know that sounds really big. It's true.
John, it was the same with me because I didn't think, I walked into the gym skinny. Yeah. Within a month, I was up to 100 kilos, and everyone was like, how did you do that?
Massive now, guys. For God's sake, I accidentally grew some shoulders.
You know, it happens. It happens.
I want to fucking accidentally grow. I wish I could accidentally grow. No, just wake up. Motherfucker.
No, honestly, John, you walked into the gym because you wanted to get big, right?
Oh, I just dropped me. Oh, fuck, my sword. Sorry.
I love that.
Hold on. Look, we need to talk about this sword. Hold on for a second. What is this sword? This is your pro card, right? This is the day you won your pro card, right?
Yeah, that was my sword. My pro card sword, that is.
So that's when you won the British finals at the Two Bros and got your pro card.
Yeah.
Well, hold on for a second. Bring it back. Let's show it to people.
I'm not trying to take light away. This is Scarlet's show. I just actually just threw it against the wall though, by accident.
Is it heavy?
I feel like it's yeah, pretty fucking heavy. There's no detail on it though. Pretty boring. So Two Bros, you know.
Yeah, but it's still something, man.
It's still pretty cool. It says
BFF trophies.
Oh, you might be able to see it.
Just for me to mention something.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Open British Finals Classic.
Oh, wow, I love that. That's really cool.
I prefer my UK BFF one. That's better.
The men's ones were great though. The women's trophies was shit.
Really?
The men's ones are big and
women's ones are like all the same. You had like I got a bikini girl for my fitness show.
Oh really?
Saying that, John, this sword that you just pulled out, this is every kid's dream today, and we need to address this very importantly. That what you have today is there's a massive line, and there's a massive queue of youngsters that look up to you today and look up to this sword and think, you know what, this is one day, this is the dream, you know, I want to be like this guy.
I should probably frame it, really, shouldn't I?
Not really frame it, but just put it somewhere on the wall, or, you know.
My stuff's just laying on the floor.
Oh, same here.
My IFBB Pro card that you get set. Have you got yours yet in the mail?
I've only got my big one. I've not got my small one yet.
So you get the little one sent in the mail. It's still in the envelope.
Have you still got your big one that they give you on stage?
Somewhere. I don't know where.
Under the sofa, tucked
I've
under.
realized, like, every single person I know who turned pro, these little, like, they're not little, the trophies that you guys win, it's like, okay, it's there, it's a new chapter now, so, okay, guys, thank you very much, but you can sit aside now.
Yeah.
I need the bigger ones now, you know?
Yeah.
So I've realized every single one of you has the same kind of mindset and attitude towards that. I mean, Kai Green has the Arnold Classic one on the floor broken.
Yeah. It just doesn't really mean much, though, does it? Because at the end of the day, it's nice because it's something that represents the accolade that you've achieved. But at the end of the day, it's not just the achievement that counts. It's like the whole process, you know. Like, to me, it's just the memories and that, isn't it? It's just going through the process that's the cool thing. Like, I don't really care about the trophy, to be honest.
Wow.
So, Charlotte, Scarlett, sorry. We're going to interview another Charlotte, by the way, next week. So I was looking into the.
I'll let you off.
Sorry about that. I was looking into questions and.
All good.
Call me. I have a question. I have a question for you here.
Yes.
It says, how do you overcome moments of disbelief in yourself or a down moment?
Wow, I'm still working on this.
I remember seeing one of your stories that you were struggling mentally. You know, I didn't know if it was the quarantine or it was the you know, I don't know what's going on. So do you want to fill us in?
Sure, no, definitely. I think especially with social media nowadays, like, I'm still me, I'm still raw. Like, I don't change or hide or I don't bullshit anyone. Like, if I'm pissed, if I'm upset, I will just let it out. Like, I'm not going to lie and pretend my life's fine, because everyone has shit times, everyone has good times. Nothing ever bad happens. It's just, sometimes, I think for me, like around the quarantine period, it was being isolated so hard from being quite a busy bee, being out all the time, the gym's closing. It just kind of all got on top of me. And I wouldn't say I suffer from depression and anxiety, but I do get those spouts. I definitely have suffered from it before. And I think it just got on top of me at the time. And I was just like, do you know what? Like, I'm pissed off because I can't train. That's my outlet. I had no equipment at home at the time. And I was just like, bugger this. But even on prep as well, like, I love Instagram and I use it daily. And I know a lot of people, they kind of overuse it and they over obsess over it. And I'm not saying I'm not one of these people, because I do love it and I am on it all the time. Yeah. But I use it to my advantage. So on
But you're sponsored as well, right?
Yeah, sponsored by.
So you need to use that as your platform to help.
Exactly.
You know,
so there's a business perspective behind it as well. Like, it is, I'm supposed to be attracting a certain audience and to promote myself as well. Like, we're all in here to make ourselves known, I guess. So, but for me, it's just using it in a positive way, and especially on prep. What drives me insane is when people prep and they kind of breeze their way through it, or they portray that prep's really fucking easy. It's not fucking easy at all. And if anyone finds it easy, they're fucking lying to you. Or you're not working hard enough. It's one of the two. So I was very open about my ups and downs, and I feel, for me, it was an opportunity for someone to kind of try and relate to that. Plus, it helped me offload because I was just chatting it out. You know what it's like on prep. The mind games kick in, you feel like shit, and you're tired and you're hungry. But if I could rant on my Instagram story, I was going to. I didn't want anything from it. I didn't want any sympathy from anyone. It was like diary for me, basically. But it's also to kind of let people know that no matter who you are, no matter how successful you are, like, everyone struggles.
Did you watch the previous episode of ours with Darren Farrell?
Yeah, that was awesome, because he's had a rough show of kind of depression.
He's had it rough. I've had it rough. I mean, I lived wars as a child, and I've seen things in my time, and it affects me today. You know, John is probably the strongest guy in our group, but in the same time, even John at some point came up and said, you know what, I've actually, under pressure, I managed to make those kind of decisions that I feel like it wasn't right. So I can relate a lot to what you're saying. But then social media for me, and for a guy, if we come out and it's called bitching straight away. It's like, why are you bitching? Why are you being such a wuss? And we can't do that. And it was one of the things, men cannot talk as easy as women do. And this is where it all happens.
This is where a huge problem is. I was having a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and obviously with Luke passing recently, like this is where a lot of these problems are. And we were talking about like suicide rates and stuff, and it is the guys. It is the men that have a much higher percentage than the females, and we can just talk more. We're not afraid to express how we feel, or to talk to someone, or to offload.
Or to even cry.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Be emotional. Like, have a heart, have emotion. That's fine. It doesn't make you any less of a man. But yeah, like for me, it's, and for females, I think in general, it's just a lot easier to kind of just chat shit, moan, bitch, do whatever you need to do. And for guys, it seems to be a little bit harder.
No, of course.
There's another dude that I know, not a bodybuilder, but another dude that I know killed himself like 2 days after Luke. He's from my gym. He's from my gym. I was like, man, what? I mean, I wasn't close to him or anything like that, but obviously I found out, and I was like, mate, what is going on? It's like, and I've heard of a few other people as well, not even remotely close to me, but who have all, you know, passed.
The thing is, I don't want to be
like during this period.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no you know, I'm not going to sit down here put an analysis over what happens to people, because this is not my field. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. But how I see things is that, you know, when you're a bodybuilder, you look forward to training every day. So that's your goal, your daily goal. And then weekly progress pictures, that's another goal. And then at some point, you know, the shows that you set up in the future is something you look forward to. And then seeing your friends around for cheat meals and everything. So there are little things to look forward to. And when we don't see that anymore, it feels like, okay, now what? I'm all alone. I feel trapped. You know, and this is where all the dark shit starts to come into your head, you know?
It's a lot of routine as well for a lot of people. When the routine's up in the air, it's that repetition every day. Bodybuilding is very repetitive. Competing is very repetitive. So once that's kind of thrown out of the water, you almost get to a point like me on lockdown. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't have a gym. So how am I supposed to train? And then your training times are different. Your work, like for me, my personal business, like that went up in the air as well. And I was like, I can't handle this. Like, I need my routine. I'm a creature of habit. And for me, implementing that routine, albeit it's different to the norm, but I now have a routine, which makes it a lot easier to deal with, and I can just kind of carry on as normal.
Yeah. People find comfort in routine, don't they?
For sure, especially like we are all obsessed with the sport, and being obsessive, you have to have that kind of constant drive to want to do the same thing day in, day out. It's how bodybuilding works. To consistently just keep repeating the same process over and over again. So for a lot of people, and that's something, with lockdown and quarantine, like I'm sure a lot of people really struggle with that.
Yeah. So, but for you, Scarlett, like now, this is the struggle. Like this is the challenge of today, of not being able to train and doing all these things. But in your normal, like, well, I don't know what normal means for us, but the time when you're in the gym, eating, training, looking forward to shows, what are the challenges then? What were you facing then as a female athlete?
I think it's just to know that you're constantly improving. I think for me, I always worry. I think also turning pro affected this for sure, because like, John, I don't know how you felt. Like as soon as I turned pro, I think it comes with such pressure. You kind of achieve it, and then all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, I'm pro. And or you make up in your head that everyone has now got their eyes on you, and probably for a day or so after you turn pro, you are going to have eyes on you, because people are going to want to know who you are and who won their pro card in that show. So for me, I felt immense pressure pretty much straight away. Even silly things like, shall I change my name on Instagram? Do I need to change my name on Instagram?
Yeah.
Do I need to post about something on Instagram? And again, it's all social media related. And then I just kind of took a week away from it. And then like after kind of speaking to my coach at the time, for me, it was just immediately set that new goal. And I think being pro now, it's still weird when I say that, Jesus.
I still don't feel a pro.
Hey, I'm still pinching myself. Like it's
I
hilarious.
don't feel
it's
Well, you know, you don't feel, obviously you don't feel. Everybody, people have asked me like, "Oh, how do you feel?" I'm like, "Well, I don't feel any
exactly
fucking."
the same as I
Like,
do.
you don't start earning loads of money and like nothing really changes, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's exactly what you said. You took a week off. I took 6 weeks off. I took 6 weeks off. I didn't eat and I didn't train for 6 weeks, and everybody thought I was crazy. I was like, I just need to like get away from this. I've been like haul assing for a fucking year to try and become a pro, and then done it. And like all I want now is just to
Time off.
fucking not be in the gym.
John, how many shows did you do?
6 weeks.
How many shows did you do, John?
Me, I've done 6 shows.
6 shows and 4.
You beat me.
Or SCARLET, right? Okay. So I like controversy. Okay, I love it. I like raw shit here. I'm gonna put some pressure on you, SCARLET.
Yeah, go for it.
I feel like it's easier for women to get their pro cards. What do you
John, you're not helping this situation. I don't know. Like, maybe this is controversial, but I kind of almost agree loosely with you as well. I think it's definitely
No, go for it. I'm just kidding.
No, like I genuinely think it's not easier. I think male bodybuilding seems to be way more competitive than female bodybuilding.
The market's just less saturated, probably.
Yeah, and like obviously the bikini girls, there's like 101 million thousand.
Keep going. I need to close the windows. Keep going.
No problem. There's like, now we should bitch about him because he can't even hear us. Great.
Yeah, he is a fucking wanker.
No, but there's like heaps and heaps of bikini girls, and I think bodybuilding originated as a male sport. So I feel like there's always that extra pressure for guys to achieve, and just the look in general for men is there's a lot more muscle needed. So I don't know. I think I obviously agree with that. But again, like you say, like the women, like my category, like figures getting popular. There's no one in fitness. There's not many women's physique. There's definitely not that many women bodybuilders anymore. And then bikini's just saturated as hell. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it's easier. I just think there's less girls doing it.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean? So the ones that are good, most of us know. Like you find out about the ones that are good because there's not many of them. You know.
I'm going to tell you how I feel.
Follow them. There's guys. There's loads of good guys.
That's what I mean. So for me,
that's all it is. I don't think it's harder.
2009, 2010, 2012, 2015, 2018, and I was supposed to compete this year. And chasing, and there's looking at my category in Budapest, we were 29 guys, and I came 6th.
Yeah.
So it's like 6 today, then maybe another show 4th, then maybe another show 5th. So I'm doing about 4 shows to 5 shows a year when a bikini girl could do 3 shows and she gets her pro card and she's like, you know what, I'm a pro. Hello.
I think it's the way you go about it.
That's where I feel a bit like,
you just need some arms.
okay. All right. We got it. All right. Pose down.
Pose down.
Yeah, let's do it, gents. Pose down. Let's
Pose
go.
down.
I'll whip both of your asses.
She probably will. We should shut up.
She's probably better than both of us. I mean,
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. In all seriousness, I think it's just the way you go about it. I think sometimes you just need to plan your shows, you know? Like some people take more time off and don't compete as many as others, you know?
That's what I mean. I mean, back in the day when the UKBFF were the guys who were giving the pro cards, there was 1 pro card a year, okay? So there was a massive line. There's a massive queue. So if it was not James Llewellyn, it'll be what's his name? Ricardo Correa. If it's not Ricardo, it's Zach Kahn. If it's not Zach. So those guys were like, sorry to say that, but they were much more superior than us.
Yeah.
You know, now, you know, back, and by the way, Zach back in the day was not even human. I'm just going to let you know that. He was a different person even on stage. Zach is not the same person.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm asking. I don't know really any. The only place I've ever seen him is obviously Two Bros recently, but
no, that's not Zach. Zach back in the day was just something completely different. He was like a unit. we used to look at, you know, you look at the categories, and all the categories were full, like 30 guys, and there comes the fitness, and there's 2 girls down there, and then one of them gets sent to the Arnold, and the Arnold there's like 6 of them, and then she turns pro, and it's like, it was still harder. No, don't get me wrong, but it's easier now. There's like 27 pro cards in one show.
Yeah, for sure.
What show's that?
Like
the Ben Weider
show that I did, and this the Amateur Olympia as well. Like this is the show I did. So technically, like I've always played it down because technically I probably shouldn't even be pro, because I mean this is me being really putting myself down. But like because it was top 3 overall got their pro card, not the top overall, and I came 2nd overall. I didn't come 1st. So technically, if that show was another show, I wouldn't have turned pro. So I got lucky competing in a show that it was top 3. So I think that was like going back to the pressure that I felt. Like I knew that deep down. I knew I had potential to be pro at some point. And I genuinely competed in October last year, trying for the pro card, but I wasn't like that fussed really. I was just happy because I had a shit show at the beginning of the year. I had a miscarriage and it was all like drama. So for me, just getting back on stage at the end of the year, that was my only goal. And then coming 2nd overall, obviously, like you turn pro, I was like, fuck me, like my life's amazing, this is incredible. And then the next day, reality hit in, and I was like, if this was another show, this could have been a very different outcome. So I feel now that I've got pressure to prove myself that I deserve that pro card.
Yeah,
and
you just need to train harder, you know?
Definitely.
You just need to train harder and just focus and show that, you know, you're worth, you know, the pro card. I mean,
Definitely.
at the end of the day, how I see
4 shots.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, there's so many IFBB pros that I haven't even heard of. You know, back in my time in the beginning of the 2000s and 90s, I mean, there were the pro. If you say a name of a pro, I'd be like, he's not a pro. Don't even listen to him. You'd know straight away because the number of pros were like you can count them on your hand. You know, now obviously it's changed. But I hope it's going to bring the standards up again because there's so many and you need to be very different from everyone else. So it could work both ways. I'm not sure what you think, guys, but
I definitely agree with that.
I have a question here again, which is really funny. It says, amongst female bodybuilding or the fitness industry, do you find a lot of bitchiness going on like us guys?
I think, to be honest, I think this is probably like the only sport that's probably where men are worse than women.
He just called me out of my arms. He's bitching.
That's what I mean.
Oh, don't be a little wimp.
Show me your hamstrings, you bitch.
Fight.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You got much better hamstrings than me. See, that's all you had to say.
I had to think about that.
Dude, I stumped you.
You caught me off guard. You know, I was like, what the hell? Yeah, sorry, Scarlett, go ahead.
I genuinely think that the men seem to be more bitchier, but maybe that is because it's more competitive in the male side of bodybuilding. Like,
yeah,
I have not really, apart from maybe 1 or 2 times, experienced women being that bitchy to each other. Maybe behind closed doors, for sure. I think everyone is probably a little bit behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But I know on show day, like, no one's there kind of sitting, judging you, being like, oh, I mean, everyone is probably in their head. I think we all do it, especially when you get tanned and you're standing there completely starkers, just like getting your tan on when you're all like lean and shriveled and everyone's kind of eyeing up the competition, but no one says anything, or it's usually just like all the best. I think because we're all emotional and we all just chat shit all the time, we just kind of support each other a lot more. So like genuinely, like the ballet world is fucking vile, but bodybuilding, like I've never experienced it.
Scarlett, have you seen men backstage?
I try and piss people off.
Did you hear that?
I try and piss people off big time.
I'm the same.
God. I swear to God, that I bet you do.
The last competition, British finals, we're all out the back. There's 5 of us going for the pro card. We're all doing press ups, all of us. Or no, I might be lying. This might be the qualifier. No, it was the qualifier. And there's about 5 of us all doing press ups. And I'm like, well, lads, let's have a press up competition. And then one of them's doing press ups and he's like, no, man, there's enough competition for one day. And I was like, no, come on. So I kept going. And I made sure I was the last one to keep going. and I was just talk so much shit, but it actually works. People actually get pissed off. I can't believe it.
I've done worse than you, man. In Hungary, in Budapest, I walked backstage holding my bag and everything, and I just looked around and I was like, guys, you look amazing, but God, did you travel a lot? Because you look off. And I just walked away.
Yeah, just they're like, oh!
And all the eyes were right on me.
Yeah.
There's a guy sitting down, the guy who actually won his pro card. I mean, he was sitting down and he had two chairs. One chair, to sit on, he had his feet up. And he just kept looking at me like he was from the Emirates.
Mm.
He just kept looking at me top to bottom. And I was getting my last bit of tanning done. And I said, I wish I never said that because the guy looks like he's going to kill me any minute. On stage, he's standing right next to me. I looked at him and I was like, you're definitely off. And he just looked at me like that. He goes, listen, you're actually making me laugh because if you're that funny dieting, what do you like in your off season? I was like, I don't stop in the off season. The guy and everyone who was watching, they were like, it looked like he just wanted to turn around and, get you square in the face.
Smack.
But that's me backstage. I like talking trash talk. It came from basketball. It came from basketball because that's what we used to do back in basketball. There's a lot of trash talk. And I took that to bodybuilding. And now obviously I'm the most hated man in this industry.
Women are just too scared to do that. I think a lot of women are just
They're scared. They're scared for their extensions, Hey, bitch. My hair.
Scott, your coach, Scarlett's coach Bob, and you've got a thing.
What thing?
Faisal and Bob. You don't get on, do you?
Rob, you mean?
Yeah, I'll call him Bob. I've known him for a long time. We always just call him Big Bob. Rob.
Rob. Oh, basically, Rob. Okay, let me put it straight up. I hope he watches this and sees it because
he's never said a bad word about you. I just remember speaking to him, and he just said, "Oh yeah, we had whatever back in the day or whatever." He never said.
It was really stupid. It was one of his athletes who was a friend of mine. He put a status on Facebook saying, push, pull, lower body, or isolation splits. So obviously he tagged me. He tagged a lot of people. So obviously I'm the kind of guy who was very old school. I train one muscle group a day. I don't take days off unless my body tells me to. Yeah. And obviously Rob comes in, massive, lecture saying, that's what happens, when you do push pull, blah, blah. So obviously, but then the way he said it, it was very kind of aggressive. So I said, listen, I'm not taking part of this conversation because I don't think you're mannered enough. You have no manners at all, with the way you're speaking. Obviously, back then, I think Rob was probably 25 years old. All right. We were kids, like it or not, we're the generation that made every single mistake on social media by replying to others, swearing back at people, blah, blah. But then we grew out of it. This new generation don't do that anymore. If you look at all the arguments on Facebook, it's probably only the old generation that do that. The youngsters just go, fuck you, I'm off. So that's what happened. But then what really happened, Rob has to agree to that, okay? Arnold Classic Europe. My brother and I, Saeed was competing in men's physique. I'm walking to the main doors. Rob sees me. Rob's eyes are right on me. And when you see someone British, you're from the same country, like you like to support each other. Because I saw Dan Juma over there as well. And he looks at me in the eye and he just goes, like a proper, and I just cracked up laughing. I was like, you know what, just leave it there. But then again, when we saw each other at the Two Bros, I opened the door for him. He was polite, hey, cheers, mate, thank you.
Or on the bridge.
This is bodybuilding. I mean, I'm not gonna hate him for it. But one day, if he feels like it, we can have it on stage, me and him.
Yee.
Go down.
I don't think Bob will compete again, mate. I think he's
done. Got
such a huge client base. I think he's more worried about that now, isn't he?
Maybe I'm calling him out now. Maybe he will come back. I'm too small, man. He's a super heavyweight. I'm a classic physique.
What's you talking about splits and that? What split do you do, Scott?
Single muscle, kind of.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you do like upper lower. A lot of girls do upper lower, innit?
I used to do like the push pull legs thing, but now like I mean it's kind of weird what I do. I basically just do what I want.
You sound like me.
And me.
I can never explain what I do. I'm like, I don't know. I just, you know, I just train.
I guess like it's like I'll train legs twice a week, so that's front and back, kind of.
That's awesome.
Like back, and sometimes like it for me it's like I throw touch up shit in there as well. So like it's kind of single muscle stuff, but sometimes I'll train something really random at the same time.
Yeah. I do that all the time.
And for me it's just enjoyment, and because of this like off-season phase that I've been in, it's been very like quad dominant, then it's been very shoulder dominant. Like I've really focused on different muscles because there's certain areas that I need to bring up. So rather than just like fapping around with 2 shoulder exercises and then doing chest and then triceps,
you just kill
I
it.
don't need a massive chest, so focus on what I do need. But it kind of it varies, and like I'll train when I feel like good to train. If I don't feel like good to train, I won't train.
Yeah. So that's how we do it, isn't it?
So it's just a bit random, I guess.
I mean, I have weak calves. I had very weak calves. Probably still have weak calves. Every time I walk into the gym, first thing I do is sit on the calf raise, seated calf raises, do 3-4 sets, and then start doing back or arms or whatever it is. So it became more of a habit. So I sometimes do that, you know, finish my back workout and think, you know what, let me do a bit of traps. And, you know, I don't train my traps. So every now and then I feel like throwing them in. And we don't have a schedule, John. So like when we trained legs in Body Limit, we just went with, you know, how the layout is.
Yeah.
We worked on the layout. It was awesome. I love doing that.
I like training in different places as well, where you do have access to different stuff. Like I technically have a training plan from my coach, and I do loosely follow it. But if I feel something doesn't sit right on my body, or I don't enjoy doing one exercise, it doesn't feel very nice, or there's different machines, I will change. Like I'll just take it upon myself to go, do you know what, this is better for me. I feel this more. I'm going to benefit from this more rather than.
That's the right way to do it.
So I do like training at other places as well, just to spice it up, change of atmosphere, change of people. Like
that's what I do all the time.
So talking about training in different places, there's more controversy going on here. Hold on for a second. You're from the new era, okay? You're the youngsters. Well, both of you.
How old are you?
28.
28. Yeah, me too. Well, I'm 27.
You guys are still young, you know. Like I'm 40 next month, so.
You can't tell, brother. The beard keeps you young.
Thank you. Over here, obviously, John, you're sponsored by a company that is called Old School, and they're only looking at, you know, they're only looking at aesthetics, you know, small waists and that X frame and obviously, you know, Scarlett, you came into bodybuilding quite after us, you know.
Yeah.
We seem to attack a lot of the. You're probably seeing them in different gyms because you like to train in different gyms. We call them the Gymshark douchebags.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously, I'm sure as a new athlete, you probably did wear some of their stuff. But how do you deal with shit like this? Because we're kind of like, it bothers us when I see like a Gymshark chick doing squats and then taking selfies and putting her phone down. It kind of bothers me.
It is the best clothing.
It just makes me laugh. I think as well, like, I'm not going to lie, I was probably that idiot at one point back in the day, for sure. Like, I think every female's gone through this phase of training's cool. I've just done a squat and I'm going to post this awful booty shot on Instagram because that's what we all did. And it's not until you, like, for me, it was just like, I took it seriously. I don't want to train in the most high-tech gym in the world, but I want to train in a good bodybuilding gym that's not fucking clean, that's got access to so much different variety of equipment. And then, I mean, if I see people like that now, I'm just like, you will either grow out of that phase or you will just continue to be a douchebag. It's going to go either way. But as long as you don't piss my sessions off. I couldn't care less about what you do, because I'm just in there for me. But I mean, it is saturated now. There's so many of them. There is so many of them. And like, I train in Muscleworks in Bethnal Green.
Yeah.
And that there's probably about 6 women in that gym, like total. There's none of us.
When I used to train there, women weren't even allowed.
Yeah, they never used to be allowed in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like women were banned. They weren't allowed in. And then they were allowed in on like Saturdays from like
Saturdays
1 till
and Sunday after, and then
now
they
it's like
open.
women in there, it's very open. But it's more the men that are douchebags, because you get like the guys that are like, no, take my top off and I'm gonna do some bicep curls in the mirror, and it's like, dude, you look like shit. Like, what are you doing? Put some clothes on.
I've got to interject though. I don't think you can call them Gymshark douchebags, because Chris Bumstead is Gymshark, and he's the best in the world.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But in my eyes, he's not in the best.
I think there's just douchebags and then people that wear Gymshark. Because I actually like not the Gymshark wear for men, but the Gymshark wear for women. I understand why all the birds wear it, because it's the best shit on the market.
I've got Gymshark leggings on, and I've only just realised.
Yeah, like it's the best shit to wear on the market. I don't think they're Gymshark douchebags. I think they're just douchebags, whatever they wear. Man.
The thing is, it's an expression now. You know, like you walk into the gym, they're all all these Gymshark douchebags, and
I just call them cunts. If I'm honest.
Me too.
If that's too much.
I mean, I look at the end. I think I came to a conclusion here, or to a stage where I have to accept the social media era now.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to upload their pictures, their exercises. They want to be influencers, and I have to accept it. But when I come over and trying to use the bench, and that little skinny bitch standing over there doing.
Or when tripods on the bench and their camera's just conveniently placed there on a holder, and you're like, your camera's using the bench. You're not even using it.
That's what I mean. This is where I start getting a little bit frustrated, you know?
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. And I think, like you say, like, it is social media. And, like, I respect that some people use it to promote themselves and they have a massive following and that's how they're making money. But there's a time and a place. Like, don't get in my fucking way.
Ooh.
Look at that. You know what? I can actually see her headbutting someone backstage going, you know what, you bitch, bah, you know, like, get out of my fucking way.
I might do what you do.
Like, you know, like, pick up the phone. Hey, Faisal and John, can you come and help me out? I'm being jumped by like 4 other people, you know?
Clean up on aisle 5, guys. Clean up on aisle 5.
I'll be eating Domino's.
Yes, it's true. And I'll be like, oh, John, looking a bit soft.
Oh!
Fucking bitch, I started my diet today.
Shredded already, mate. Shredded.
Dice. Peeled.
3 days in.
I know. Let's check this out. I know John is not a big eater. He can eat big in certain ways, but I know for a fact he's not a big eater.
No.
How is eating with you now that you've had issues before and now?
It's been a massive roller coaster, to be fair. I think with the kind of eating disorder shite that went on beforehand, like, you have this disordered way of thinking, and I think you jump straight into bodybuilding. For me, that was probably the best and worst decision I've ever made, because it's even more controlled. There was no breaking that routine. If anything, it made it worse. So like I said, but after my first show, it was a free-for-all. I literally ate as much as I could, because I've got a huge sweet tooth anyway. But I can eat shit until the day is done and I'm still not full. So I binge, I get really chunky. And then, like I said, like, because I got the calories in, my training was good. So the size came on, albeit I got soft as fuck. And then the more I dieted down, the better it got. But it was just experience, and like knowing that my first 2-3 preps, I'd set myself so far away from where I needed to be. So my preps every single time were dire. Like, they were fine. And then I was poverty calorying the whole way through. Like 2 hours of cardio a day, eating fuck all. But it was the only way I could get lean. It was the only way I was going to get lean. But the prep that I did last year, I mean, this is a little bit deep, but basically I went through a bit of a shit point at the beginning of 2019. I fell pregnant and it wasn't planned. And then after kind of coming to terms with that, I lost the baby, thankfully, in the most unfucked up way. So I didn't have to kind of go through with it.
So is it you didn't feel healthy at that time?
I felt like this is where depression hit me hard at this point, because I'd gone through this whole roller coaster of being pregnant and then not being pregnant, and then I had blood poisoning, and like I had so many complications post surgery, and I was just like, my life's really shit. And with that, I lost a lot of size, so I came out of that in a terrible position, but I wasn't that fat. So I was like, right, I need to turn my life around now. This is a chance for me. Muscle memory is a thing. I love training, and for me, I could just jump straight into the gym. So my off season last year ended up being quite good, which meant my prep wasn't terrible. And then since turning pro, I've just not wanted to eat like shit. Like, I think the more experience you have, the more you realize that food will always be there. You're not, you deprive yourself of it on prep, but it's never going to go anywhere. So there's no need to kind of just be an absolute dick and eat the whole world. Plus, who the fuck feels comfortable sitting at 80 kilos and 30% body fat? Like, as a female, like, that's not a fun place to be. And
not
like,
for me.
But for me, like,
I'm at it right now.
I especially as a female, like, we give a shit about what we look like. So it's all fun and games being lean and being shredded for a show. I don't like being show lean. I don't find it attractive at all. I like being 6 weeks out. That's where I feel good. But being off season, it's like being figure as well. Like, when you've got more muscle, we hold more fat anyway. So you're going to have to be comfortable in your off season body as well. So why I don't want to look like a fat lump, but at the same time, I don't want to have to restrict myself to the point where, like, my brain is just going to kill myself. Yeah. So for me, it was just finding that happy medium. And again, like, working with my coach to kind of make sure that I dieted down so hard that I slowly brought the calories back up to a good, like, I'm on 3,000 plus calories now, and I feel fucking great. I'm not fat. I'm in relatively good composition. I'm not hungry ever. And it's just the first time, and it's just a learning for me to just not be an arsehole.
I think the binging after show things comes with time, doesn't it?
Definitely. That literally is just a time thing. And I think we've all done it. I think everyone's done it. And then
definitely, I've done it.
People that say, like, oh, I'm not going to binge after my first or second show, I'm like, you definitely will. Like, you 100%, you have to go through that, because that's what we all do. Yeah. Some people, I'm sure, like, are fine. But it's just like a learning game, and you understand bodybuilding more. You understand, like, why you're doing it, and it's not a hobby. It becomes less of a hobby, and it becomes your lifestyle. Yeah, and when it's your lifestyle, you don't want to eat like that. You don't want to look like that. It's just that maintenance and that balance, as cliche as that sounds. Yeah, and it's just time and experience.
Yeah. Off topic here. What does your tattoo say?
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna like this. This says, "She gave me life." And then it's a really terrible fingerprint of mine and my mum. It looks like footprints, but
it looks like a butterfly.
It looks like a.
I thought it was a butterfly.
It's supposed to be two in the shape of a line.
I've got two butterflies. I thought it was that.
No, I'm sorry. From here, it looked like a vagina to me. But hold on.
You should see the penis tattoo I've got on my foot.
Let me have a look. Hold on.
Imagine if I actually had a dick tattoo on my leg.
Oh my god.
Wait, Faisal, what you got on your feet?
Me?
Yeah, show us.
Crocs.
God, that was smooth. I like that. So smooth.
I got Crocs.
I love it.
It's the Crocs have a thing, because
Crocs and socks.
Oh no! Come on, let's
bring that back.
Time out here. When I first started watching videos on YouTube and stuff like that, and then I think bodybuilding.com made a video of Jay, and he was going onto his garden wearing Crocs, and he was speaking about Crocs that he was comfortable with. So what do? You buy yourself a pair of Crocs because Jay is wearing it.
If Jay does it, definitely.
If Jay does it, I do it. See, in basketball, everyone wants to be like MJ, like Michael Jordan. Yeah.
I think that Jay Cutler is almost MJ-like. Even though he's not considered as one of the greatest bodybuilders ever, I've never met a bodybuilder, like a male bodybuilder who's been doing it for a long time, who hasn't mentioned about Jay Cutler having an influence on their training. 100%. If Jay did it, it's all right.
100%. So, guys, what's the future plan now? I mean, since we don't know what shows are happening, and
none of us do.
We're a bit all over the place, but I mean, Scarlett, what was your plan, and what's going on now with you?
The Pro League have just announced that they've moved their Chicago and Arizona pro shows to October.
Okay.
Obviously, with this whole situation, you don't fucking know what's going on. So my original plan was to do Romania in November and just kind of take this year off and then do Romania to kind of kickstart 2021, which would be November. But obviously, Olympia's now in December, and everything's just a shit show. So I spoke to my coach and I was like, look, Rob, I'm not desperate to get on stage. However, in this time and day right now, like I need motivation. So he was like, fuck it, like let's just begin prep. So we're going for Arizona, I think Florida and Chicago. They're all 3 weeks within each other, beginning of October. So I just said, I'm going to prep for them. If it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. Like, he said to me, as long as you're happy to start prepping slowly, loosely, and if we've got to pull the plug in 2 or 3 weeks, then we pull the plug. Like, that's just the situation. So I'm prepping, I guess, but whether it happens or not, I don't know. But I'm relatively open-minded to it. For me, like, if I can just bring it down a little bit, I can do a mini cut and then I can push back up. I can do a rebound.
Well, that's what I mean. A rebound would work wonders. You see what you have under there, and
yeah, exactly.
But John, I think you wanted to do Chicago as well.
No, not Chicago, South Korea.
South Korea.
Yeah, I'm in a similar position. You know, it's just like I want to do it, and I'm prepping for it now. I'm 14 weeks out from South Korea.
So I mean, having to do a pro debut right now for both of you, I mean, don't you feel like, I mean, I don't know how about you guys, because I've known people who take 2 years off and trying to get ready for a pro debut, and they don't want to look out of place. And I'm not sure. You guys obviously have tested the guys with you on stage and seen, you know, the differences and everything, because this is what you do for a living now. I mean, do you find yourselves guys ready for a pro debut now?
I think you have to jump into it, man. I don't think sort of stepping away for a year or 2 years, waiting to see if you're ready to go for a pro show is not really the one, you know?
You're not really going to know unless you get up there.
Yeah, you have to just do it. You got to jump in and see where you lay.
I came into this off season being like, I know I need to grow. Like, I know like the pros are going to be way more experienced and they're going to be a little bit bigger than me. So that's what I've done. But like my coach said the same thing. He was like, we can take 2-3 years off, but you're just going to constantly say the same thing. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Yeah. Just get on stage and see where you stand. As long as you have brought your best. And like Rob said to me, Scarlett, if you look like shit or I don't think you're even going to be competitive, I will straight up tell you don't do this show.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to let you look stupid. Yeah. So, and a friend of mine was like, what about prepping now? Like, you've not got access to gyms. You've not got the routine that you're normally used to. And I was like, do you know what? That's a fair point. Like, because especially like the girls in the States, the guys in the States, like they've got access to gyms now and stuff, haven't they? They're all open. So they
were all training. I know them. I know a lot of them. I'm not going to keep this a hush hush anymore.
Yeah.
I kid you not. 99% of them were friends with the owners of the gym, and they used to go early bird, like 4 o'clock in the morning to train, or 2 in the a.m. at night. Okay. And no one knew about it. Okay. So let's not start hiding behind bushes here. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
You're saying about doing pro as well, just before we move off the subject. I think a big thing you have to realize is that we're pros now. So it's like being a pro boxer, you know, you have to realize that it's like you have a career ahead of you, and turning pro and then not showing up on stage in the pro circuit for 2 or 3 years is not going to be good for you as a brand, you know, like you now are a brand, like you're your own brand, you know, I'm my own brand, Scarlett's her own brand. Like, you turn pro, you've now got an opportunity to have a good career ahead of you if you want it, you know. So I think making sure that you get your face out there is just as important as doing well on stage at this point. You know, everyone wants to go in and win their show. Like, I want to go in and win my first pro show first time, because who the fuck wouldn't? But it's just as important to actually get on stage and get amongst it. So.
And to mix with these people as well, because these people are then going to be your competition. And like you say, like, you need to be someone now. You need to be a brand. You need to be a face. People need to know who you are. Because
you have to force your way into that, because there's a lot of people out there doing it. So if you want to,
especially like you say, like social media, like some of these people have millions and millions of following. But for those of us that don't, like, make yourself known, show the world who you are. You don't need a huge fucking following and hiding behind Instagram. Go and prove to people that, like, I'm a pro now. Like, I'm part of this team. This is me. Like, accept it. And
I know.
She's like, you go, girl.
You go, girl. You know. But one thing I wanted to say, which is really, really, it intrigues me.
Bad
You know?
back.
Me too. But you know, like we as amateurs. I mean, I'm still an amateur, but I go to shows. I like to wear a different tracksuit every time backstage. I like to have a different style. You know, but then I had a specific outfit that I used to wear that was completely fucked because of the tanning and everything. But when I walk out from the stage, I always had a different tracksuit or a different hat or something like that. For you as a pro, I think you need to have that in every show. You need to have an outfit for every show you walk in. You need to be very different from everyone else.
You wear a suit.
I would love to. You know what? I think.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. For my first pro show, I want to wear a suit.
I love that.
I'm not even fucking about. Tom Platt talking about it, how they used to turn up to shows in suits. They used to do the Olympia press conference in suits.
In suits, yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
I don't like
turn up, like if I've got all my tan on and stuff like that. But like, whatever particular part of the competition I can, if I can be in a suit, I'm gonna fucking do it, or at least like something like trim, you know. Yeah. Like trousers and a shirt, like looking good, you know. Maybe not necessarily a three piece, but I'm gonna look good. I'm actually not gonna fucking turn up in a tracksuit. I'm serious.
You look at the NBA players, you know, the basketball players.
Yeah, all of them.
They show up with a different outfit every time they come out of the bus, and it shows class.
You know, Last Dance, the NBA thing, that Chicago Bulls thing. I'm watching that. They have to turn up to suits to training.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's professional.
So it made me think, you know what, like if you want to do something like this is me talking to myself, like if I want to do something different, I want to be heard in the industry, then I need to do something really different, you know, maybe like wear a fucking suit.
Yeah, I mean there's no harm of you wearing a suit with this hat, you know, just style out.
Yeah. You're trying to sell yourself to the younger generation and like, you know, why would they want to be a bodybuilder? And I remember watching videos of Tom Platz and that, you know, riding around in a freaking you know, like a Corvette, like a convertible, wearing a suit. There's girls and stuff like that. Living in California, driving across the like the boulevard and that. And that was the dream, you know. So I think that's what you have to sell that.
Fair enough. Is that your dressing gown?
It's a blanket.
It's a dressing gown.
It's a blanket. Sorry, there's just like loads of like disheveled craziness going on in the kitchen. Hence why there's loads of loud banging.
No problem. We're gonna have to wrap it up. So, Scarlett, what's your Instagram?
SCARLET HOLLANDS _IFBB Pro.
Guys, give her a follow. You know John Lofthouse. You know his one, the dictator here. Thank you very much for being here, Scarlett. We really enjoyed that.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
You're our first female athlete.
Good.
You know, John, thank you very much for your time.
No worries, brother. Always my pleasure.
And someday we can have a training video together.
Yes.
So keep tuned. You never know what's happening.
Definitely.
We'll collaborate.
Want to go Muscle Works in? Was it Bethnal Green? Yeah, I haven't been to that one.
Come down.
So,
it's not part of Orpington, is it? I thought it was part of Orpington, but it's not. They're separate.
No, they're separate. No.
Yeah, I want to go down there, check that one out.
The owner of Bethnal Green is the same owner as Enfield, who's Savas Kyriako. He's Cypriot.
Okay.
Cypriot. What do you call it? Greek Cypriot.
Yeah. I have to do. I'm doing a gym tour. I've said to Annie, my other half, we're going to do a gym tour once the gym's all open.
I can't wait to go back.
She's going to take a few days off work, and I'm going to take like 5 days, and I'm going to go do a gym tour, just to get out there.
Well, guys, we all have our plans. I'm sure all our viewers have plans. Let's reach out for everyone. You know, you guys set an amazing example for all the youngsters now coming up into the trenches. Thank you very much for your not only your time. You guys are very humble. I hope you guys stay this way and just keep those people speaking to you. You know, like it was hard for us back in the day to reach pros. You guys are my friends here. You're pros and you're my friends. So I can with a phone call and pick up the phone. I'm very fortunate as well here. So thank you very much for everything you guys are doing for the sport as well.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you.
All right, guys. Peace out.
Peace out, man.
Take care, guys.
See you.
too.
Bye.